Welcome back, fellow mobile gaming fanatics. This is another episode in WWE Supercard, and we have our latest event, which is a PCC between Charlotte and Sasha Banks. As I kind of predicted in one of my most recent videos, this was around the corner. The Diva PCC was going to come up at some point, and it is here. Now, Sasha Banks is going to win this by a landslide. Personally, I prefer the look of the Charlotte card and the Charlotte card. I'm not, I'm not a big fan of this Sasha Banks image, but what can you do? I think it's the belt that might swing some people. But if we have a quick look at the leaderboard now, I can't really play much. I've got about 800 points at the moment. You need the top 2750 to get the event card. If I can post up maybe 5,000 points or something before I go to work on Saturday, maybe I will try and get this card. But if I'm a long way off of that, I don't think I'm going to be able to play too much over the weekend. So we will have to see if I'm going to be able to get this card or not. But from a reward perspective, let's have a look. So if you compare the two cards, both got identical speed. Charlotte is a power and toughness card, whereas Sasha Banks is a toughness and charisma card. The reason why I'm preferring the Charlotte card is if you ignore both of the speeds on both cards and say you weren't going to put any stats in that, Charlotte procs in power and toughness, which means you could put a bit more of your extra tokens into the charisma should you want to, because she's got the chance to proc in toughness and power and boost those, whereas Sasha Banks is going to proc in toughness and charisma, but if you want to put some points into power you could, but it tends to be quite a lot of power cards around. Personally, I just prefer to have the Charlotte card, and if I was going to put some tokens into her charisma, I just think that Sasha's toughness, if you compare the two of them, she's naturally going to be weaker than Charlotte in toughness. She's going to beat Charlotte in charisma, she's going to lose to Charlotte in speed, and she's going to lose to Charlotte in power. That's just basically the way these cards are set up at the moment. So it'll be a draw in speed, she'll win in charisma, and she'll lose in power and toughness if no tokens are attributed to either of the cards, which makes me just feel that the Charlotte card is going to be stronger overall, and you'll be able to do more with her, especially to free stat her. You never get her to be able to beat Sasha in charisma without losing out in power toughness along the way, but there is, I think, more scope to put a token or two into speed if that was your choice, to make sure that she beat basically Sasha kind of across the board except for in charisma. So that's just my personal opinion. But as we drop down, you've got Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. Seth Rollins' card is a better card. You've got 3 stats over 1900, 1 over 1950. He is a beast of a card, top 3 card. Definitely worth getting. Compare that to Kevin Owens, where he's got 2 stats over the 1900. Yes, he's got really good power, one of the betters in the game, but if you look at his speed and his charisma, he's just not quite on the same level as Seth Rollins. Now if we walk a little, scroll should we say, down here a little bit, I'm going to forget the supports, so I'm going to imagine most people aren't really worried about getting the supports, toughness and speed or power and speed, not really too much to say there. But as we scroll down to the undercards, now got Rusev and Roman Reigns, and there is a slightly bigger gap between these two cards, because if you look here, easy to see, Rusev power and toughness, Reigns is both power and toughness, but he hits over 1100 and nearly 1100 in those two stats respectively, and Rusev is nowhere near that category. Plus if you look at his speed and charisma in comparison to Reigns, he is a miles weaker card. So for those of you who are going for undercards, I can see why Reigns would be in your scope over the Rusev card. So I've got a feeling that probably popularity of Sasha Banks plus that will have an impact. The kind of higher tier, mid to higher tier players who would prefer the Seth Rollins card, with Kevin Owens already giving a lot of people a pro. I do think that, I think that's where it's going to come down to. And here you've got Sheamus and Kofi. Once again, I can see a lot of people probably siding with Kofi over Sheamus. I think it's the undercards which are going to probably play a big impact here, especially at WrestleMania card. But maybe I'm wrong. I do think that the rewards are pretty good. I think the Charlotte card is better, and I also think that Seth Rollins card is worth getting if you're aiming for that, unless the Kevin Owens makes a pro. But as I said before, most of you, or a lot of people, will have Kevin Owens pro already. So we're going to come and play a couple of games in a moment. I'm going to show you the team that I'm using, because I haven't done a PCC for a very, very, very long time in this game. But I have a fusion chamber to collect. I could have collected this literally like a day ago, so I've been sat here waiting. I should have just collected it and showed you, but I've done that last time, and I wanted to get this one on camera. So I never really thought I'd ever say this in this game, but I'm really, really, really hoping for Bo Dallas. Okay, now it's probably the first and the last time you're going to hear me say that, but Bo Dallas is what I want. If it's not going to be a Bo Dallas, then obviously, yeah, any of the cards is fine. It's an opportunity to pro them later on. The Vince McMahon support is the second thing. So if I don't get Bo Dallas, I'd love that support. Other than that, I'm not really too fussed. Even if it's, yeah, I'm not fussed. So 3, 2, 1. Let's hope for a golden Bo Dallas card. And we have no Sami Zayn. Oh, that's disappointing. That is disappointing. Okay. We don't want to throw in this Trish Stratus card yet. To be fair, I could throw in, I've got a Survivor card somewhere. I just need to probably unlock it. It's probably locked. I think I've got a Randy Orton Survivor card still, which I could put in. So I'm gonna do the Steve Austin. Nakamura, Big E. I wouldn't mind the Big E, to be fair. Bo Dallas, Samoa Joe, Asuka, and Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon or Bo Dallas. If I was going to get stuck with any other one, then I would have gone with the Big E. Sami Zayn, not really one of my favourite wrestlers. So it's another chance for pro next time. While we're here, let's just throw in a few of these cards. And I'll also go over a little bit, kind of, not the problems that I've got at the moment, but yeah, something that, should we say, happened. Now, with fusions, I kind of gave up on PCC and stuff a while ago, so I threw a load of my cards into the fusion chamber, and as a result, I am now left with a lot of cards that technically, well, let me rephrase that. My PCC cards, in inverted commas, that I kept especially for these events, have all been, yeah, basically fed away. So I'm a little bit stuck. I don't have a deck now specifically for PCC. Like before in previous videos, some of you may remember them. There were examples of teams that you could create, cards that you could underlevel and stuff to give yourself. Oh, it's Dean Ambrose I had. Sorry, it wasn't the what do you call it? It wasn't, who did I say before? Randy Orton. Yeah, Dean Ambrose. Okay, cool, no problems. Yeah, so I don't have the deck now to be able to put out those 4 cards, which were perfect in my mind for doing that kind of event. So I don't think I actually have any rare or super rare cards in. I've done all my stuff. Yeah, great. I want to keep David Boy. Okay, no problems. We'll just throw another Survivor. Yep, so now I've got to sit here and come up with a new team, and I don't have any underlevel cards. So by underlevel cards, I mean cards that should be leveled up to be good enough. No, we're going to keep Paige, actually. That's a bad idea, because Divas are harder to come by. So let's put in Kevin Owens instead. Okay, yep. So I don't have that nice little deck, underlevel cards and stuff, you know, pros which aren't fully maxed out, just so that they can do damage in PCCs. All those cards have gone. My Devon, my Bubba Ray, all those cards, Vamoosh into the fusion chamber, out of here, sons. So this is the team that I have been using. Now, I can't offer a good team for those of you in SummerSlam tier unless you do something like this. And I'll be honest, this has worked pretty well so far, and it's probably going to come crashing down to me here. But I tend to come up against one SummerSlam Pro, another WrestleMania event card kind of pro, and then a few either SummerSlam singles, WrestleMania pros, you know, maybe one Diva Pro, one Diva single like this, a few Survivor Divas. Now, it does depend a little bit on the games, but what I found is if I just try and use the the best player stat that comes up, I have a very, very good chance of winning the majority of the games. So this is the team I'm using. I did try it with some of my SummerSlam pros in here and that, and I was just finding that the results were too unpredictable. You know, I'd be lucky to win 50-50. It was too tight. This, as long as I'm, you know, kind of picking my players semi-sensibly, like I won't go for someone who's got, I don't know, maybe 30,000-40,000 games played. I try to keep people around the 10 to 20,000 mark. I know I'm generally going to lose one of the matches, which is good because it means I don't get the clean sweep, and that also means that I then don't have to get all the extra picks. But I also know that I have a very good chance of winning the Diva match and potentially at least one of those other games. So if we click here, as you can see, we'll win this. Now if it's a tag match next, that's perfect for me. It's a solo toughness. So what I do here is I use a toughness card just in case it isn't a SummerSlam Pro. Here you go, there's Kevin Owens Pro. So many of those we're seeing around now. And hopefully a single male, a tag match, anything like that would be good. Speed, we throw in Sami Zayn, and yep, here you go. I've managed to win because obviously I've picked Sami Zayn because it's a speed card against a random, whatever it will be that the AI has picked, the random WrestleMania event card. So this is kind of how the majority of the games have gone for me. So if you're in Survivor tier, I always do this. If you're in SummerSlam tier and you're in a similar kind of situation to me where maybe you're struggling with the SummerSlam pros, but you do have a lot of those WrestleMania event cards, then you can do that. You're still getting SummerSlam board pools this way. Okay, you're not in the plus or the plus plus. You're going to get SummerSlam board pools. You don't have to worry about saving up your picks and all that kind of mumbo jumbo. You can just keep grinding out at the game. You're gonna still got a chance of getting that top tier pick. And yeah, if you get lucky in some situation like this and one of the first cards is a weaker one, then it gives you the opportunity to potentially go 2-0 up, where you then don't have to worry. Let's see, power and speed. I'm going to actually use the Rock here, so that's fine. So here you go. If it's a single male now, I'm very likely to see a SummerSlam Pro, but I'd want to lose this game. This is bad because I'm probably going to win. Yeah, okay. Not complaining about the win, just complaining about the 3-0 because it's an extra board pick which I didn't need. And for those of you who are wondering, why don't you want the extra board pick? If you're doing PCC, ideally you only want to win the game and take 2 picks rather than 3, because that extra pick is an extra 50% of time you're going to spend getting cards, having to go to your card catalogue to feed cards away, train cards away, everything. So it's more time you're going to spend playing around with your card catalogue than you are going to spend grinding games. Likewise, it's also very good if you have a season up and running, or King of the Ring even. And I'll show you here. I've just entered this King of the Ring because what you can do is you can consistently, when you come and charge up your cards, take a load of energy cards, train up your players, go back to the grind, because if you pick an energy on the board, it is in place of a card. So obviously there's going to be less cards that you're technically going to pull, which means it's going to take you longer till you have to come back to your card catalogue and train those cards up again. So we'll just try 1 or 2 more games before I go back to it, just to see if we can get maybe, right, I won't play Barry here just because there's a very good chance he will have some Scotty B probably got him as well, but I'm going to play him just for the sake of just seeing if we lose. Yeah, somebody with more games. I don't really want to be playing people who have got those SummerSlam pros and they've under-leveled them. So they've got the SummerSlam pros hitting 7,500, 8,000 points, so they haven't fully leveled them up for events like PCC. They're the kind of people which I am more likely to lose to. So a bad team up in terms of the choice of cards can make me lose. Procs at the wrong time can make me lose. And obviously coming up against people with those under-leveled SummerSlam cards. So as long as I can try and avoid the under-leveled SummerSlam cards, the rest of the time I reckon I'm on an 85% win streak, something like that. Now, sometimes in this situation here, I will keep my Charlotte back and throw out the Becky Lynch, because Charlotte isn't a speed and charisma card. If I have to come up against like a Bayley Pro or something like that, I'm going to lose. So I'll keep her back with a chance that, well, if my Becky had won, she wins, and if she loses, she loses. So here, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Whichever way round I would have done it, I was going to win one of the matches and lose the next. So happy there. 2-1 against Scotty B. We'll play, that's 3. We'll play 2 more games and I'm going to be done. So you see, literally all you want to do is rinse and repeat, people. Rinse and repeat. Play the game, get the energy. If you're going to go for the top card, you've got to play +5s or +10s if you get the hot streaks or whatever they're called. What are they called? Double pickers? What are they called? Title matches. There we go. That's the one. I get so confused with all these games. Yeah, you're going to need to use title matches. No real way about it, especially in the Divas PCC. So that's your best way of getting into it without having to dedicate as much time to the game. Now, like here again, I'm a bit unlucky because they've got a compatible tag, but I've obviously used 2 people who are charisma-based cards, so it's fine. I'm still going to get the win. And that puts me 1 up. We come to the Diva, toughness and speed. Fine, I'll use my Charlotte card because she is a toughness card. It puts me 2-0 up. Now the idea will be here is to hopefully come up against a male single. That's not so good. So unfortunately, again, I've won 3-0. But I don't complain about winning 3-0. I try to avoid it if I can, but I'd rather win than lose. So we'll play 1 more game and then you'll see 5 games hopefully and 5 victories. And that's with me only refreshing my opponents once. So getting rid of the guy that had 50,000 games played and replacing him for somebody who played 23,000. So last one here, we'll just play whoever it is. Come on, waiting on network. Scroll down, yes, Rubio. So make sure, guys, if you want to go for those top cards, go for those +5s. If you're going for some of the undercards and some of the other rewards, you're not too worried about that. Maybe you can get away with the +3s. If you can get yourself into that situation, winning +3s will be a lot easier, especially if you're struggling in the +5s. You haven't got a particularly, you can't consistently win the games. You're not going to win every match, but you need to be winning 4 out of 5. Really, you want to have at least an 80% win rate in those +5s. Otherwise, you spend a lot of time just losing matches, collecting cards for the 1 card you get for the loss. Filling up your catalogue. You spend a lot of time doing stuff which just doesn't help your progression. So here you go, this is perfect here because I've got incompatible tag, gives me the win, nothing to worry about now. Diva again. If it was a male star and it was power, I'd have used Nakamura. If it was speed, I'd have used Roman Reigns, you know, like that. I'd have tried to have lost it. Got no choice here, but pretty lucky on camera to get 5 games in a row where I've got 5 victories. But you can see that this works. Now, you might not have exactly the same setup, but obviously feel free to change it slightly. Now, if you're going to say, how do you mean by change it slightly? If you are in SummerSlam tier, then as an ultra rare support, if you're in SummerSlam tier, to end the video, use event cards from WrestleMania or Fusion cards if you've been lucky enough to get the Fusion Pros. And then if you do have 1 Diva Pro in WrestleMania and a single SummerSlam card, that's great. You can change this up slightly. 2 single SummerSlam Divas will still serve you pretty well. Even a Survivor Pro, if you still have the Brie Bella card or something like that, as long as you can try and do a compatible tag. Okay, the compatible tag will help because if you get that Diva match with the tag, it gives you an increased chance of being able to get the win. So as long as you've got some compatibility, something like that will help you through. You then come to your male superstar, same kind of idea again. You want to have at least 1 compatible tag, whether it's up down, or left right, all the way through, or like I have it here, 2 separate tags which I can break up if needed. Then make sure you've got that because it will help in those tag matches like you just saw when you come up against similar cards to the cards you're using. And if you're not this high up in a tier, then use the same kind of logic just further down. So whether it be legendary event cards, Survivor event cards, you know, depending what tier you're in, fill your team out with those kind of cards. 3 or 4 legendary event cards, 3 or 4 Survivor event cards, and then 1 of the pros of the corresponding tier if you need to fill in the gap. And you know, divas along the same kind of line, a pro in the tier if you can, and then a single from the tier below or a pro from the tier below to fill in the diva gap. Try and make them compatible tags, and that will help you try to get as many wins as possible in those +5 matches. So I'm going to cut this video off here. I'm going to thank you all for watching, wish you luck with the grind. I'll be back in a couple of days to let you know if I'm going to get the card or not, but until then, good luck people, and I'll see you at the end of the event.